there has never been anything to show that 1 times 1 is 2. It's been established since probably the dawn of man.
Please subscribe. And somebody like you who intimately knows the science behind proving that flat earthers are just dumbasses hasn't sort of caught up and overtaken me, because the information you provide, I would quite confidently guarantee is thought of as more accurate than any information I provide.
Yeah, that's one of the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah,
But
it's a strange
my
one.
yeah, I'm doing the channels. I'm pretty sure if I do more regularly, because I don't have a set schedule. I do when I have free time, and with my
Yeah,
PC that broke in like April, I had so I couldn't do anything. So, but I do it in my free time, and I do it because I like it. It's really
yeah,
fun. It's fun to see what people can come up with. It's fun to see what crazy ideas is out there. One of my favorite ideas by far has been, what's his name, Terrence Howard, with
oh,
his 1
yeah,
times 1 is 2. And so the fact that 1 times 1 is not 2 is used daily in the field of physics, because there's something called the inverse square law with
yeah,
radiation, which means if you are a meter away, you have to divide it by the square of a meter, which remains 1, and
right,
not 1.44, whatever square
yeah,
root of 2 is. Which that
yeah,
really baffles me, that people can go to those type of lengths and send
yeah.
your paper to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, and somebody
And
so high profile as well, because basically
yeah,
what he's saying by saying that 1 times 1 equals 2 is that you and every other physicist that uses the equation you just mentioned in nuclear physics is a liar, or you're all collectively wrong and he's right.
even the field of mathematics, everything that works in mathematics should then also be wrong. And
Yeah.
to take that on yourself, I wouldn't say dumb, but overconfident.
Because basically, what flat earthers are saying, and general conspiracy theorists, people, as we said earlier, have a distrust or mistrust for anyone in authority. So we'll make this work to you. So you've studied, you're a qualified, you've got the certificates, the letters after your name, and everything. You're a bona fide nuclear physicist. So for flat earthers to be right, that means you have been lying to me about what nuclear physics is.
I've
Then
been lying to myself.
your lecturers, the guys that taught you what you know, were lied to by their lecturers, and then those lecturers were lied to by their lecture, and so on and so
All
forth.
the way back to like
So was
Wilhelm
anyone
Röntgen.
ever right? Like ever in history? Or did some one guy, Mr. John P. Physics, the guy who
Yeah.
invented do you know what I mean? I'm trying to
Yeah.
make it sound as ridiculous as flat
Yes, yeah,
earthers
yeah.
make it sound. You know, he just made
The
it up for
father
a
of
laugh.
physics.
Yeah, he just made it up for a laugh and passed it on, and now every time somebody spends, I don't know, the best part of 10 years studying physics to the highest levels, that it doesn't matter anyway, because
Yep.
John P. Physics lied 2
Yeah.
trillion years ago.
On the basis of the 1 times 1 equals 2, you can even practically test it with Pythagoras, like the Pythagorean theorem,
Mm,
because it works for every single set of numbers. Then it would not work for one, because then it would be a triangle, a right angle triangle with two sides, one each, and then the hypotenuse being, so if 1 times 1 is 2, so the hypotenuse would be 2 instead of square root 2.
right. So for Terrence Howard to be right, again, all of mathematics would have needed to have been
Greeks should have been wrong.
historically wrong in the same way.
So it's not just the basis of physics, it's everything we know technically
Yeah.
should be
Yeah,
then wrong.
yeah. Kathleen McCauley is saying Terence Howard said what? Yeah, I thought everybody knew about this. This was a highly publicized thing. Didn't he actually go to Oxford, or was it Harvard?
I think it's Harvard.
Is it Harvard? Is it?
Yeah.
I knew he had gone to a university.
Yeah, I think it's Harvard, but I think it's on the Professor Dave Explains video where he
Yeah.
went, and then like his Harvard degree isn't even in the direction of like maths or physics or something.
So somebody like Terence Howard making this extraordinary claim and then presenting that his findings, to an educational institution like Harvard. What did he think was going to happen? Did he honestly think that everybody could have been getting it wrong all this time? I just don't get that mentality.
Yeah, it's pure arrogance. There's nothing to show that there has never been anything to show that 1 times 1 is 2. It's been established since probably the dawn of man. There's no physical way to show it. There's no way on paper you can do a calculation to show it. Sure, there
Yeah,
are these false proofs that show 1 is equal to 2 or 1 is equal to 0 and stuff like that. But that's just clever mathematics sleight of hand. It's
yeah.
it's where they just quickly do an operation that's illegal, but you don't always realize. Probably what happened is somebody did that to Terrence, and then he was like, "Maths is
Yeah,
wrong."
because he's obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously because I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. But he doesn't sound like a stupid man. He doesn't sound that type. He's
Yeah.
articulate. Did he seem smart to you while being wrong?
So he uses clever words, but it's
Right.
just clever words that, if you put them together, to the average person sounds extremely smart. But when
Yeah,
you
like,
actually know what you are doing, it's nonsense. It
yeah.
doesn't mean anything.
So it's
So
basically the same thing Eric Dubay does. He uses, because
yes,
Eric is very articulate. There's no getting away from
yeah,
that. Yeah, I would imagine that that's why so many people lap up the things he says, because he does sound like a stupid person. And that's what I mean about Terrence Howard.
yeah.
When I watched it, I already knew he was wrong, but
It
he
sounds
didn't
clever. It
sound.
sounds
Yeah,
clever.
yeah. He didn't sound like he was explaining something that wasn't a possibility, if that makes
Yes.
sense, even though I already knew it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? That kind of.
If you didn't have the background, then you could be persuaded to, like, but wait,
Yeah,
let's think
yeah,
about this.
yeah,
Yeah.
if somebody was on the fence type of thing, because that's one
Yes.
thing I was always very cautious of, in the early days of my channel. Not so much now, but probably it should be more now, is making sure that everything I shared was as accurate as I could possibly make it, because the last thing I would need is to be having mistakes in the data I share,
Yeah.
or the experimental results, whatever. Because then if I was getting that stuff wrong, then that would make me no better than flat earthers, and I'd have no place. In fact, it would be incredibly arrogant of me to make fun of these people and correct them if I was getting it wrong all the time myself. Now, I've
Yeah.
made mistakes, yeah, but
Yeah, and also even in the early days when I started last year,